But that's your belief. It's who I am. And I hear people say this all the time when I bring this up. What I'm asking you to is to recognize you don't see yourself. And who you think you are isn't you. Whoa. So my whole belief that I'm sarcastic, I'm nice, I'm whatever words you to describe yourself isn't me. Well, what am I then? Screw you. I'm not going to deal with this. No way.
No, I like that idea. I like that construct.
But yeah, this is no. I don't want to. I can't be wrong.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, then what's right? Well, now I'm empty. There's nothing there because I've created this false construct. Like me, I'm an athlete. Yeah. I'm all these things, and I have to tear all that down and go, oh, I'm none of that.
Right.
What am I really?
Yeah.
So that's the first piece. But the other piece, which because of the cycle I talk about, that's in my book, that denial gets born out of, we created that false construct because of what I went through as a kid and what you've gone through as a kid, sarcasm, whatever it was. Like, here's a great example. When I was a kid, I was reaching into the fridge to grab cottage cheese. I was hungry. And my mom goes, oh, no, that's for the dogs. Well, my mom would use the cottage cheese to hide the dogs' pills when they were sick. What I heard was, the dogs are more important than you. We feed the dogs first.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah. You don't,
all my life,
give you the why.
For years.
Yeah.
Anyone would ask me if I was hungry. I'm like, no, I hate to eat. It bores me. What I did, here's the false persona. I went, oh, if I eat, I'm less than a dog. Mom yells at me, doesn't love me. I won't eat. So I basically, for 20 some years, I lived off of 3 super big gulps and Copenhagen. I didn't eat. I just drank Coke and chewed tobacco.
Whoa.
And literally, even now, it's still a struggle for me to keep food in the house.
And you did that while you were an athlete?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we went on a 3-week trip to Europe. I wouldn't eat any of the food. I ate chocolate and Coke and Copenhagen. That's it.
That is spectacular, though. Like, I know it's not.
But see, these are the false personas we create, and we think this is us.
Yeah, right.
And we think this is us. And so you go, you're telling me that's wrong, but that's me. So that's the second piece of denial that's so hard to overcome is, see, I became a person who didn't eat to keep connected to my mother. Mm-hmm. I went, oh, mom will love me if I become this. So not only am I, if it's not bad enough that I'm asking you to give up the false persona you created and you don't know what's behind it, now I'm challenging you to also let go of the only connection you had, even though you can logically say this isn't smart, doesn't work for me, but this is what connected to me, to my parents. I already felt alone and abandoned and less than perfect around my parents. Screw you. Now I have no connection with them. Yeah. And that's what repeats the cycle that I talk about. And that's why we won't deal with people. Listen, I'm going to deal with parenting. I'm going to deal with any of this stuff. I'm not going to look at my Republican views or my Democratic views. Screw you. Because look at everything I'm asking you to challenge. That's huge. When you don't have the plan and don't know how to do it. Yeah. And that's what I laid out is here's how you do it. But I've yet to see a book on denial. My book, I think, is the first one that really dips into it.
Yeah.
And Byron Katie is about denial. She just doesn't call it denial.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so that's what's happening with denial, in my opinion, those 3 things. And that's what's killing us as a society is we don't know how to have that self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And without that, that's where misery comes from. Because you recreate it over.
Yeah. Man, powerful stuff. While I was reading your book, there was a story about you and your daughter and how she came to you when she was 16 looking to get married. Yeah. I thought that was a really interesting story, especially the way you ended up handling it.
That was one of my proudest moments as a parent. That was a moment in all my dysfunction where I dropped in and was a good parent.
Yeah, you're like, right.
Like that one I hang on to.
Yeah. Will you tell that story?
Sure. Well, like I said, you said, my daughter was 16 and she came bursting into the house one day after school and she's like, Dad, I gotta tell you something. Okay. She said, I'm getting married. I'm in love. I got married. And I just, like any parent, why? No way. You're 16. That's crazy. Do you realize, blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling her all the reasons why and why not. And here's how fear works. I was in massive fear. I couldn't control her. Okay, so fear is about one of three things: rejection, inadequacy, and powerlessness. I didn't feel rejected. I felt inadequate because I don't have the skills, tools, or knowledge to convince my daughter this is wrong. Powerless? You bet. I can't get her to stop. That's what fear is. One of those three things in every situation. Now, because of that, my daughter's feeling rejected and powerless and inadequate. She can't convince me. Well, you know what it's like when fear comes at each other. It's like two kids fighting over Tonka toys. It just escalates. You're not dealing with anything. And so we kept going back and forth, and finally I dropped into sanity. And I got real quiet, and I said, Olivia, let me ask you a question. And she just like a teen, her hands on her hips, sneering, "Why, Dad?" You know, because we've been yelling. And I said, do you want to go to the Grand Canyon? She's like, totally quizzical, like, yeah. I'm like, what if I told you I'd been there? And I knew all about it. Would you still want to go? Yeah. I'm like, but what if I had all the pictures and movies and everything, and we could sit there and I could walk you through all of it, and so you'd see it all. Would you still want to go? She's like, kind of dropping a little bit. She's like, yeah. And I went, why? At that point, I was like, I got it. And
she's yours.
Yeah, like she dropped enough, and now I can see her. She's thinking. And I said, and that's when I was like, why? And she goes, because I kind of want to see it on my own. And I said, that's it. Exactly. I said, Olivia, it doesn't matter. If I've been there and done all of this, I could tell you all about it. But even if we were there together, I'm 6'1", she was 5 something. You're going to see it differently than I am. And I said, the bottom line is this. It doesn't matter what I show you. If I pull out all the pictures, you're going to want to see it for yourself. And I said, it's just like this marriage thing. I can pull out all the scrapbooks and stories and tell you why it's so horrific, all the troubles your mom and I had and everything. But the bottom line is, until you stand on that edge of the Grand Canyon yourself, it won't mean a damn thing to you. So I want you to get married. I want you to do it. And I just ask one thing. When you do, all I want is for you to come back, show me the pictures, show me the movies, show me the scars, and tell me all about it. Can you do that? She's like freaking out, like, my dad's just crazy dad. She's like, yeah, I can. Well, what I did was one of two things. I created a paradox. Kids want power. The second I stopped fighting her, I took away the fight. Mm-hmm. I gave her permission. Well, that loses some of its, allure to it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a...
And part of the reason she's probably getting married or wanted to get married was like,
she wanted my attention.
Yeah.
She wanted a great conversation.
Yeah.
And so that was one piece. The other one is I realized it's not my life. It's hers. Mm-hmm. How do I know that's the worst thing for her? My parents were married at 16 and 18. My mom was 16. Mm-hmm. They were married for years. It was incredibly dysfunctional. But is that bad? I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Mm-hmm. My thinking I know what's best for my daughter is horrific.
Wow, that's big right there.
Right? Yeah.
People to realize that, because most parents are like, I know what's best for you.
Yeah. No, we don't. And what do we say? What do we say to our kids? I don't want you to end up like I did. Yeah. But look at how awful and self-destructive my life has been. If it hadn't been so self-destructful, I wouldn't be so enlightened with what I came up with. It was all that self-destruction that showed me this process that I've never seen anyone talk about. I discovered something nobody's ever brought up.
Right.
So you don't want your kid to end up like that? Why rob them? Like, the gift of childhood, adulthood, whatever, is our ability to learn from our imperfections. So I'm going to rob you of that and keep you from it. Well, now you can't contribute anything to society. Why would I want to rob my daughter of that?
And the best stories, too, a lot of the times come out of the turmoil, right?
Exactly.
And like no one likes a movie that's all good and happy and everything goes perfectly perfect. Everyone loves the movie where there's a bunch of conflict and the person gets through the conflict, works through it, and achieves a different level.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So we're robbing our children, one, of decision-making skills, problem-solving skills. That's the biggest thing, is we want to fix their problem for them. And so all of this new safe zone thing in colleges, that's a direct result of parents fixing every problem for these kids. And so any level of discomfort, they have absolutely no coping skills. And so what do they say? You need to be different so I'm safe.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know how to do it for me, so you need to change. It's all that. You want to talk about racism?
Yeah.
That's racism. Right there. You need to be different because who you are isn't okay for me.
Right.
And yet they're screaming racism.
Right. Right.
And
you're talking, but it's like,
no,
you need to learn how to handle these conversations and discussions.
Yes.
And not let it affect you.
Yes. And what do they scream? No, I can't even listen to you because you're so threatening to me.
Yeah. Because it's going to trigger me.
Exactly. And that's their incomplete. That would, a parent in the situation with my daughter would have controlled her and made it happen their way, and then grown up to go, I have just like that. I have no ability to solve this on my own. The beauty of that conversation is now she comes to me with all these different ideas and thoughts, and all I ever do is ask questions. So that's my role as a parent, is I ask questions. What do you think you'll get from it? What are you looking for? Is that in your best? Do you see any pitfalls in that?
Yeah.
I mean, I just let her figure it out. I'm teaching her how to problem solve. Yeah. And invariably, she always turns to me and she's like, Dad, I think I need to go to the Grand Canyon on this one. The point being is she needs to figure it out herself. And I'm like, awesome. Send me the pictures.
Yeah. So how it goes when it comes
exactly.
To here.
Most of the time she doesn't do stuff. Mm-hmm. She just needs to process. She needs someone to hear her and ask her the right questions so she can find her answer, not mine.
That's a big one.
Yeah. That's what we have to let go of, is because our self-esteem is tied into whether our child becomes something. And so we want to control and make them into something so we feel better about ourselves. I'm sorry, I thought our job was to love our children, not to steal their love so I feel safer inside of me.
Right.
Yeah, that was a huge lesson I learned, was that it is never my child's responsibility to love me, ever. I hear it all the time. I cite that conversation in the book where these parents are screaming at their kid going, you owe us.
Oh, yeah, man. Wow, that's a powerful one.
I'm sorry, I thought I was the parent. It's my job to, that's the ticket you bought. Mm-hmm. And so when I figured that out, it is perfectly fine if my kids hate me. They may need to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's for them to figure out. But it is definitely not their job to love me. It's my job to love them and show them what love is. And the best way to do that is not to try and steal their emotions so I feel better about myself. That isn't loving. And that's the parenting dynamic we have in place. You see it all over Facebook.
Man.
It's crippling, and it breaks my heart.
Man, I think that's a great segue into this next question, which is, like I elaborated on earlier, creating the education for this, for helping people realize this and handle these situations and know how to just be better parents. And really it comes down to kind of just knowing how to handle people better, right?
Yeah.
How would you, if we're creating this new society, from the ground up, from scratch, how would you develop this system? How would you create maybe the education system around this idea?
Well, it's a difficult task because you can't go into grade schools or high schools and go, do you realize your parents are enmeshed and codependently sucking the life out of you? Like, I'm 14 years old, I'm just trying to survive life, and I already feel terrible at home, and now I have all these skills to realize how bad my parents are, but I have